only dogs that are on there.
Okay, I stand corrected. Okay, but I just know everybody. There's so many different service dogs out there now.
Right, I have a blind sister, that's the
So
only reason I know.
again, and you're very limited on what you can ask. You know, so anyway, just keep that in mind that they do have certain rights as a service dog, but there's a big difference between a service dog and an emotional support dog. And the whole emotional support thing just went crazy, and I think they're trying to reel that all in. So the next thing I was going to talk about was when you guys buy a puppy. I'm sure everybody here bought a puppy, or you see them up here at the Walmart. State law requires that any dog that's being sold there has to have shots, and it has to have a health certification saying that dog has all the shots that's required, DAPP, and another one. But anyway, and they have to have that health certification. So if they don't have it, tell them don't buy it, because we've already had some cases where people from down south come up here, bought a purebred dog cheap, took it all the way back down there, and it died 2 days later. They're out their money. You know what I mean? It's just, so just remember that. And any dog over 4 months of age has to have a rabies vaccination. That's a state law. If we come to visit you, say your dog gets loose, one of the first questions we're going to ask you, does your dog have is it up to date on its vaccination? If it's not, we're going to give you what they call a 72-hour notice. That will give you 72 hours to take the dog to your vet, and that's all recorded. You'll bring the paperwork to our office, and we'll put it in the case notes that it is. If you're not sure, just tell me who your vet is. We can call your vet. They have all your records, and we can find out if it has its rabies. All right? So, and one more thing with a puppy. If you buy it, it's not a mandatory, wish it was, get it chipped. Microchips are a savior around here, and so few dogs have them. Out of all the dogs, like I said, we've probably picked up, just dogs alone, I'm going to say well over 500. I don't think we've returned more than 20 that were microchipped. I don't know why people don't do it. If you love your dog, if you go spend $500, $600 on a dog, go spend $10, $15 to get it microchipped. Every one of the officers had it. They can just read it. They can call you. It's a national database. We scan it. Number comes up, tells you who the chip manufacturer is. We call them. They give us all your information. We call them and say, hey, we have your dog. We'd love to bring it back to you. Now I pick up your dog. I take it to our shelter. And you call the Humane Society and say, hey, I'm missing my dog. Oh, we got it here. Well, now you just got charged $50 for me to pick up your dog. When it goes to the shelter, they have to give it some shots before it can go in the shelter. So there's probably another $50, so $100 right there. And every day it's there, you're going to get charged per day from them. So that free delivery home might be a $200 charge now because your dog got loose. Didn't do anything, just got loose. And if it keeps going on, where your dog keeps getting loose, then you're going to get a nuisance, and we'll go into that next. So what I did is I made 20 copies. Pass them down. This is the county ordinances. And the county has to follow the state. The county can add to what the state says, but they can't take away. So I'll give you an example. Used to be that it was against the law in the state of Florida to tether your dog. Well, down south, you live there on the canal, Wally Gator comes up and eats it, and that poor dog has no way to get away. He's chained there and he's stuck. Me personally, just speaking, I don't like tethers. Even here, there's coyotes up here, there's other animals that can eat dogs. But it is what it is. So, we'll just go over a couple of the things there that we see quite a lot. And the first one is the aggressive dog. If you're walking there, a dog comes up to you, it's growling, it's showing its teeth, that right there is a ground for aggressive dogs. You can call us, we come out, we do a little investigation, you say, yeah, here's a written affidavit, I was walking my dog, that dog came over, and it was growling at us. You know, we left. Now, if it's really aggressive, to where you feel threatened, you have the right to shoot that dog. But you have to feel threatened. Don't shoot it while it's retreating, because now you're looking at a criminal charge. But if a dog is killing your livestock, you have the right to kill that animal. And if that dog is aggressive towards you, you have the right to kill that dog. Or if it comes in your yard, we've had a lot of them here where they'll come in the neighbor's yard and kill their dogs.
Yep.
So, yeah, like I said, this is nothing that's uncommon here. Yes, ma'am.
So if my cat 2 days in a row was chased up trees by 3 dogs, could I have killed all 3 of them? I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's on your property?
Yep.
Absolutely. It's just like if it was killing your dog or your cat.
Well,
Absolutely.
my husband looked that up and it said no. You
No,
can't kill.
you can.
Can
If
you
it's
tell
killing
me
your
where-
domestic
because
animal,
I
yep, I'll
don't wanna
find
be
it.
taken to
Yep.
court,
No.
you know, like some
Yep.
people are doing.
Yep. Let's see, I think I got it right here. Somebody got mad today at us about it. Good defense for killing a dog. Any action or damage or criminal prosecution against any person for killing or injuring a dog, satisfactory proof that the said dog had been or was killing any animal, to include the definition of domestic animal and livestock, is provided in 58501.
Well, he
That
didn't
shall
kill-
constitute a good defense of either such action.
He didn't kill her, but she, you know,
Didn't
she's
get away, it
sort of
was gonna, right?
Right.
So,
Okay.
to me, that's no more than attacking your chickens, your dogs. I mean, it just, it wasn't a cat, it was a dog where it couldn't climb a tree, then what?
Right.
So,
Okay, wonderful.
Um,
I'd like to. get a copy of that.
I'll get you that. So anyway, I don't make it a habit, but yes, the livestock is a big one here in the county as far as having the right. Matter of fact, there was a big case right here in Fort White. Ladies' dogs came off property and killed some cows. So it does happen here. So anyway, aggressive dog, even aggressive dog can mean, and we don't enforce it, but if it's chasing your car down the road, according to the definition, that can be an aggressive dog. It's a $150 fine.
Those dogs barking at kids playing in the park.
You'd have to call us, and that's more of a nuisance. Is the dog's on property or off property? See, that's always going to be, remember, everything's off property. That's when it changes the rules of the game here.
But
The
it's on our
county,
property.
huh?
It's on our property.
So
But
it's
the
off-
dog's
so
awful.
it's off, if the dog is off his personal property and
On your
our
property.
property, so it's off the leash and
So-
in violation.
And if he barks at people, then
So if you look at what it says for, I'm sorry.
A bark does not make a dog
Yesterday,
vicious.
she was yelling at me.
If he's
A
off
bark,
property,
well,
barking through a fence.
but a dog being off property
is
still-
property.
It's still a violation.
It's violation.
So if we would come down here and you say, hey, that's,
Needs to be on the leash.
we warn you the first time,
It's on
we
the
usually
leash
just
and
give you,
barks.
we'll give you a verbal warning. The second time, we're gonna give you a written warning, and then the third time, you're gonna get a written citation. And then subsequently after that, you're gonna get a citation. And we're working on it right now. If you get 4 citations for your dogs being off property, you will stand in front of the judge, and he might say that the county's gonna take your dog.
I want to ask you one real quick. I deal with the dogs.
Make sure you-
Okay, this person says that their dog is a service animal. This
Uh-huh.
dog, I'm a retired paramedic also, so I've seen what dogs that don't bite, when they do bite, they tear up kids' faces.
Sure.
So who's responsible now if that dog has torn up a child's arm, leg, face, shoes?
Like we just said, a service animal
Even if they say it's a service
It
animal.
has to be on a leash. The county has a leash law, and that dog has to be on a leash.
Can you enforce the leash law inside of our parks? If we call you and have the dog on a leash, because he's on trepo property, not the owner's property.
Right, but this is still would be considered kind of a public property where people can come and go, right?
Yes.
So absolutely. So it would fall underneath the county purview.
It's not public, it's
It's
Private,
it's
privately owned.
private.
We're all
All
share.
of it.
Yeah.
All property owners own the parks,
Okay.
but it's not subject to outside public utilizing.
Well, I
But
mean,
it would be no different than the dog crossing from one yard to another yard.
Right.
It'd be the same thing as leaving a yard.
Right.
and being that you're the HOA here, couldn't you create it to where only dogs would have to be on a leash and this to be
Well, we
allowed?
don't have to, you've already done that.
Right.
We couldn't supersede, I don't believe that we can supersede your
But we
county
do,
law.
yeah, we do have a leash law, and listen, I'm not afraid to come down here and say, hey, we've had complaints about your dog being off its leash.
Well, we also have it posted for not to have dogs in the park, because
Right.
that's the other thing. Now, like.
And we will enforce that, because the county has the same
Right.
requirements, and we've been called out. And some people are very belligerent about that, there's no doubt about it, but yes, sir.
I've seen people walk their dog with alligator legs, that's how smart some people are.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying, we've been out there a few times.
We have issues.
Service dog.
During working hours, we would probably call you. If it's
Yes.
after hours or on weekends, who
So-
would we call?
So what it is, and you're right, service dog is a different story. That service dog can go wherever you go, to the hospital, to the park, again, it just has to be
True.
in your restraint. So that, yes, the service dog does change everything. So our hours are 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have a 24-hour on call, but it's only going to be for 3 things, all right? It's not going to be a roaming at large or any of that. It's got to be a dog bite, all right? It's got to be if a dog gets hit by a cat, gets hit by a car up here and is suffering. We will come out, pick it up, determine what's best course for it. And the last one would be a law enforcement. So, law enforcement. So let's say their dog is roaming at large, but is acting aggressive. You call the sheriff's office. They have to come down here and they'll say, hey, we need animal enforcement. This dog is aggressive. Well, then we will come out. But if I was to take every call over the weekends for a roaming dog, we'd be broke. We would have no overtime money. So, but yes, call the sheriff. If it is a true emergency, call the sheriff's office. They have to send an officer out. If he deems that it is necessary for an animal control officer to come out, we will come out and assist them, take the dog, whatever it is. Our biggest thing is we always want to get that dog home. So the most important, if you know who the owner is, that just makes our job so much easier. So, yes, sir.
One more question. Since we have cameras in all of our parks, to record the activities, can we turn that in as evidence? as far as
Absolutely.
animals?
So, anytime we issue citations, even violations at times, we have everybody fill out an affidavit. But the best evidence is by far is photography. So if you fill out the affidavit and say, yep, right here's the video evidence, the dog was on my property, that's an easy one. There's no saying, well, the neighbor up the road has a dog. No, this dog is yours. So that's very important.
So bottom line, it sounds like in what they're describing, you're building a case first.
Absolutely.
So you got.
And we're, you know, listen.
Then you guys work through that.
Right. And we don't want to come in here with a guns blazing. Oh, you're going to get a citation for 100. I'm paranoid now. My dogs get off property. You know what I mean? It's just, it's going to happen. So many of these calls, you call them and say, hey, do you own a red pit bull? Oh, no, my dog's in the house or it's in the fence. Do you live at such and such? Yes. Well, your dog's out and just killed chickens. Sure enough, dog got out underneath the fence, went over and killed the neighbor's chickens. So it does happen. All the time, as far as not knowing. I'm not going to go through everything here. Hopefully everybody got it, but
I do want you to stipulate one more time,
Uh-huh.
a person says the dog is a service animal. There's difference between service animal and there's difference between a
Right.
mental health animal or whatever the hell you want to call it. Emotional support dog. The person says it's a service animal. What responsibility does that person have, even if they let it off the leash, they get other than leash, and it hurts somebody, are they responsible for that dog?
Of course, it's their dog.
It's not trepo though.
No, it's their dog. An animal is considered property in the state of Florida.
All right.
It's their property. No different than your car. But yes, regardless of what kind of dog it is, it has to be under your control. Especially when it comes in here. Yes, are they allowed to bring a service animal in here? Yes. Any place, I said it can go. But should, God forbid, something happen, you know, even if the dog was on the leash and it bit somebody, they'd still be responsible. You shouldn't be bringing an aggressive dog in a public place. So, yes, sir.
I'm seeing more signs of businesses that state that emotional support animals are not allowed in their business.
Yeah, because they're not considered a service dog, it's an emotional support. And that's what was happening, it was getting so out of control, you go into the Publix, and there was a dog on every aisle, you know? So, and we all know, you can go on eBay,
We are online, yeah.
or go online and you can buy the whole vest that says service animal. So it is a hard one, like I said, there's not a national registry.
And the state park does not allow emotional support dogs
No.
in their park.
No,
So
Yeah.
that tells you
Except
right there, the
only
state's not gonna allow
a
it.
service dog.
Doesn't work.
No, the state park allows dogs in the park, they're just not allowed in the water. I walk my dog in the state park twice a week, and I go through the
You
gate.
have to have it on a leash.
Yeah, it has to be on a leash, but it's allowed in the park. They're just not allowed in the swimming areas.
Right.
So,
No.
dogs are allowed in every state park.
I know the counties, they're not.
No, county park, they're out, the state parks are allowed.
The other big thing is, I just want people to understand something. I'm gonna go back to the microchipping and harp on that a little bit. So let's say your dog does get loose. We pick it up. For whatever reason, it's one of your relatives and they don't know to call Humane Society. By law, we only have to hold that dog 3 days. If it's a stray, we don't know who it is. At that point, it could be put down. So just inform everybody, hey, your dog gets loose, please call the Humane Society, ask them, or call animal enforcement, ask us. I'm not saying it happens, it doesn't happen.
But Tom, isn't that a little bit more grave right now because y'all are at capacity?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So you're
I
at
mean,
capacity and you have nowhere else to go.
I'll be honest with you right now, guys. You guys find feral cats or stray cats, there's nowhere to take them. And I've been telling everybody this, if animal enforcement comes to pick up a cat, we're gonna euthanize it as soon as it gets back to her, because there's nowhere to put it. Now, there's a couple organizations, Cats Alive and Operation Catnip here in the county. If you guys are willing to have the cat back on your property, they will trap it, they will get it neutered, and they will release it back on your property. That's the caveat of all this. It has to go back on your property. But it saves a cat's life. But yeah, cats right now is cats and dogs. We're just so inundated with animals, and they're doing a fantastic job over there adopting dogs off. Fantastic. But there's no way they can keep up with what we're doing.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is there, I know in a lot of cities, the government requires animal owners to register their animals. And by registering animals, that takes care of about 90% of the issues, 80 or 90% of the issues, I'm told. And I can tell you, being in St. Augustine with a dog and being stopped, I didn't have it registered, had to pay a fine. Had no idea, and I'm walking around on a leash with a dog. So, and it looks like to me that would create a little more responsibility for everybody. That I mean, it would make it easier for the county government,
Right.
and it actually would show more responsibility for the animal owner.
Well, I'm not gonna get into the politics side of it.
No, I know, yeah,
I just want
that's
to.
been a big
Right,
debate
there's
for
no,
years.
there has been for years, and long before I come here, everybody told me that you're not gonna get a registration of dogs. You're not gonna get licensing of dogs. I would love to see a crackdown on breeders. I think that's really where it starts. When you see these people at Walmart with these dogs, and then now seeing where some of these dogs are coming from, it really makes you think about buying one of those dogs.
So you've had to go to those fees.
Oh, absolutely. There's a huge one still going on. I've been going there for months now. This lady had hundreds of dogs. So we're still working on it, but I can't bring them all to her. So we're just
And the ones that he brought required
a lot of work.
hundreds and thousands of dollars because
Right.
they were labradoodles. And then the
Yeah,
hair was so
so-
matted and feces and.
So yeah, it's
Oh,
sad.
So
But
could the county
It's a
tighten
shame.
up the ordinance related to that?
all I can do
If
is
they
make a
could get-
suggestion.
No, if they could get a sponsor of a commissioner to do that.
Again, I'm not going to get into the politics side of it.
So
I can
you would
make-
act on it if it was an ordinance created by the
Yeah,
government?
absolutely. If there was an ordinance created, because all these ordinances all have to be approved, everything you read in here is all approved by the commission. I can make recommendations. I have already, the one recommendation I've made already is I'd like to see mandatory microchipping. And the reason it is, it's a national registry, so I don't know how many dogs you have, and I wrote, you know what I mean? No one can say, oh, you're picking on me because I got 10 dogs. I don't know them. You go to the vet, you get it. My thing of it is, when we pick it up, I bring it back to you. But yes, there's a lot of, Alachua County, they have very strict breeding laws, very strict breeding laws. This is a hunting county. You know, a lot of hunting dogs up here, so change the dynamic a little bit. Yes, ma'am.
Does that include cats getting chipped?
Do cats get chipped?
Does it include?
Yeah, oh yeah, a cat can take a chip, yep, anytime that you, yep.
Been chipped,
Yep, anytime you would go to Humane Society, they would put a
Yeah,
chip.
we discussed it today, possibly having a day, a small little fundraiser for the shelter, to do a chipping fundraiser day, which we need funds drastically, and if people could just come see us and not have to go through their vet and have a big vet bill, but we could put the chip in right there. But we're talking about that, so our webpage is gonna be kicking off soon, and you can look and see when that's offered, and I'm hoping people will take advantage of that. So I'll be there.
So anyway, yeah, that is a great, chipping is really a big thing. Yeah, I, like I said, it's just would make our job, every time we found one, we can have the dog home. We had one in California, and we got a hold of them, and they says, oh, well, I sold that dog to somebody in Ocala. We called them in Ocala. Well, what it was, they dropped the dog off here, and they kept going, and well, they had to come back now. So again, microchipping helps in so many ways. But the biggest thing, just remember this, the county has a leash law. So when you see a dog running down the road, don't be afraid to call us. I'm gonna leave all my cards here. I'm gonna leave the cards of, you guys got a fantastic officer. Her name is Joanna Jacobs. She worked with Humane Society for years before she came over and started working with us. She knows the laws inside and out. Sometimes she can be a little curt, but she'll get her point across. So, with that, like I said, read the ordinances. I'm not going to bore you with all the details of the ordinances.
I worked with Joanna and she was wonderful. However, please explain, once you have a citation, 3 citations, and you've actually gone and done whatever you did, you've given the verbal, the written, and now you've got a citation. Then they have X amount of
Yep,
time.
14 days, so you can call us and say, I don't agree with this citation.
The
Just
owner
notify-
could do that.
Yeah, oh yeah, the owner, yes. You just call us and say, I don't agree with that citation.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to tell you when the next court date is, the magistrate, once every 2 months.
So if he doesn't agree, he goes to court, he or she.
No, what you're saying, right, if you don't agree with the citation that you got, is that what you're asking?
No. So I did everything so that this person would get a citation.
Okay,
But then the dogs continued to come, so we continued to call you and take pictures.
okay.
And we were told you can't do anything else for another, at least 14 days because.
Oh, because she's already issued the citation, yes. Because she has the 14 days to, you've got 14 days to say, I'm gonna fight this citation.
And if they don't do that, then.
Then we can go right back and give them another one.
Okay.
Because after that,
And if they were to fight the citation.
yep,
We would go to court.
absolutely, we go in front of the magistrate.
And of course, they would lose because I've got proof,
Yep,
so they would pay my
absolutely.
attorney fees.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know about your attorney fees, they're gonna pay court fees.
Okay,
So you go there and you lose your case, you're gonna pay the court fees.
okay.
Who's the magistrate?
Pictures.
Uh,
Is it still Vernon Douglas?
yes, yes. He's worth the admission just to hear him sometimes. He's, but anyway, yes, say you do get a citation, it says all the instructions are right on there. Just call us within the 14 days, say that you don't agree with it and you want this to go to court. It's once every 2 months, you go to court. Just remember, you end up losing, now you gotta pay the $250 court costs. But I will say, Judge Douglas seems to be a very fair person. He may throw it out, he may reduce, especially a lot of these bigger ones, he will reduce them down if you've done, the biggest thing is doing your part. If your dog gets out, and then even my officers would do that. If your dog gets out, I'm so sorry, you know, look, right here's the fence. All right, here's 72 hours, get your fence fixed. We'll be back, we'll inspect it, and we'll just close the case out. Because it is very costly to make repairs.
If they're
So-
responsible owners, that's
Right.
completely different.
So, but yes, you guys down here, I will admit, I was in charge of your dirt roads for 5 years, so I know my way around down here pretty darn well. You have a lot of houses way out in the woods that most people don't know about, and every time we end up out there, there's more than one dog. I'll just leave it at that. So yes, you do have a lot of stray dogs out there.
Yes, we do.
So what do we do, are there any more questions? Tom, do you have any more on your
No,
program?
no, that's pretty much all I got, unless there's something on the ordinance.
Do we have any more questions?
So let's
Hey, Laura.
say a person shoots a dog on their own property that has come and killed one of their domestic animals. Then is that something we would call the sheriff and report?
No,
or
just call us,
call you guys,
yep, and we'll come out and document it, that yes, here's the dead chicken,
okay?
and there's the dead dog.
Great.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the guy, the owner of the dog, isn't gonna be happy.
Right.
Most times. Now, there is some who will come around and say, yep, you're right, that dog's been getting off property, I knew this day was coming. But as long as you've done everything you could, and I said, I'm not going to say going out here to shoot everything, but if it's killing your livestock, you absolutely have the right to put that dog down.
Well, and not just killing livestock, but we have dogs out here that have chased me, have chased many other people
Yeah.
in golf carts or cars,
Absolutely.
tried to
So-
jump in my window, it's terrifying.
Right. Well, don't be shooting them if you're chasing your golf cart or whatever, you know what I mean? But if you're actually
No,
walking down the
I'm not
road and that
saying
dog's,
But I'm saying that's the precursor to
Gotcha.
earlier on with the lack of control of the dog.
you have the right to defend yourself from the dog.
It's
Because they're off leash when they're chasing the golf.
Right. Now, see, that right there is considered an aggressive dog. If you're going down here in your golf cart and that dog's chasing you, give us a call, and we will look into it, and that's a $150 fine.
Okay, do we have any more questions? Tom?
It was very nice meeting y'all. Thank
The big one found on the other end, it works pretty good, but it doesn't make as much noise.
Have you back maybe in a year,
Okay.
as you're beginning to get some more experience, with the area and finding out new things, so.
I'm gonna leave my cards and Joanna's cards all right here for you. Anybody wants them? All right. Well, thank you.
And you had a good spot right here at the air conditioner.
Yeah, it was the best place. I felt bad for all these people over here.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Okay, Tom, thanks.
Can you pass around the front sheet?
The silent shoot.
Yeah, nobody here.
Oh, really?
Any folks want a card? Oh, you got
Well, I
anybody
haven't signed it
else?
either, Bill.
No?
Yes, I have, yes.
Hey, Mike. with the card?
I'm good.
You good? Okay. All right.
That was very informative, thank you.
That's yours.
Thanks for inviting me.
I have some numbers here.
Oh, you do, okay. All right, so, we'll move on then to the secretary's report. Nothing, you can take care of the minutes, we're good there. Okay, Vicki, we'll move on to treasurer's report.
Okay, our bookkeeper has been out of town and she got called away with her job, but, so I don't have any handouts for today.
Okay.
The P&L and the printed copy of the numbers we'll have next month.
Okay.
But just so you know, the balance as of today in our CD account is $50,624.78. So just a side note, we've gained $624.78 in interest since we put it in that CD account. So that was a wise decision. I'm so happy about that. Our savings account has $503.56. Our operating account is $130,507.15. Our membership account, $20,369.15. So the total amount we have is $202,004.64. Okay? I handed out to the board, I only had 10 copies, but we received this week a statement from our attorney, and I need to ask the board approval to pay this bill. I would say 98% of this bill is due to litigation with Jesse Crane. The total of this bill is $10,133.83.
Mr. Trammell?
Mr. Chairman, I'm prepared to make a motion. I just want to make sure everybody understands this. These are legal fees in the amount of $3,619.26. That's due to our attorney for General Association business. There's an amount of $6,514.57 that's due to our attorney for our defense as a result of a civil suit filed by Jesse Crane against trepo, members of trepo. That total is $10,133.83. I would also advise you that this is ongoing. It has not been resolved, and so there very likely will be additional attorney fees related to the Jesse Crane litigation. So my motion is that we approve the amount of $10,133.83 to be paid to our attorney for the stated General Association business and the Jesse Crane litigation.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Trammell to approve the attorney's fees. We have a second by James. Is there any discussion on the attorney's fees? One thing I would want to point out is that these fees are current through the end of the month. We did have a, for May, but we did have a mediation last Thursday with the plaintiff, and that was about 6 hours, and so we left that mediation at impasse. So we'll be beginning to get more charges, more fees associated with us as we go forward. Pardon me? Okay.
How many attorneys did it take on that 6 hours?
Well, we had a mediator, who's an attorney. The plaintiff had an attorney, and we had an attorney and an attorney backup, so we had about 4 attorneys in there. So we're moving forward with it, and very positive in the direction that we're going right now. So we have a motion on the floor. I just wanted to add that in the comments, in the discussion. So we have a motion and a second. Tommy and James, call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, do you have anything else, Vicki?
Well, I was just curious, going forward, when we get that next statement, do I need to bring them back monthly? Or?
Bring the statement for May at the next meeting, and we'll approve that statement and put it on in record, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make a right now, he is taking 38 members away from our county by what we've had to pay.
Pardon me?
Gas and train
Yeah.
litigation,
Yeah,
38
that's-
members fees.
Yeah, we don't want to really get into that road, but thank you, Terry, but I understand that, that's just a process and a function of what we're doing right now, so we'll move forward. But thank you.
I have
Yes.
one more thing, I'm sorry. Charlie's not here, I was gonna let him announce it, but he has modified our trepo.net, under the information tab. When you drop down under that, there's a treasury report, and below that is a new field called litigation. So I haven't prepared all the documents yet, but going forward, we will be posting information on the monies that we've spent on litigation on the trepo.net, so members can see it.
As part of your financial report.
Yes, sir.
I might suggest that we not do that until we talk with council on that, because we don't want to be singling anything out that might appear to be, in a matter that's. Yeah, I think we should leave that alone right now.
Okay.
To the finish
Just
the process.
record it.
Okay, so there's no point, I mean, what we basically have is we have a member who's a plaintiff, has filed a lawsuit, and we're defending the lawsuit for all the members here, which affects their monthly fees or their membership fees, because it's an actual cost for the association. So we'll leave it at that. We don't really need to add anything else to that. That's, I understand, everybody's a little bit bitter about it, but that's okay.
No, it's not out of bitterness, we keep having members ask us,
Well,
what are the monies that we're
well,
spending, so.
it should show up as a categorical item. So we'll leave it at that regard. We won't single it out and be this and okay, we'll talk with the attorney about that. But thank you, appreciate your report. We'll move on to the president's report. Here.
I only have a couple of things. People's been complaining about so many dogs in the park after when we don't have gate readers there, and people's been putting their kayaks and all that behind the clubhouse. We need to find some way to close that off over here on the side.
You mean you're talking about on the fence line over there and going through the swamp?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, 4th of July falls on Thursday this year.
Carter's Wednesday.
Thursday.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
I'm hoping I'll be there though.
Oh, you just want to.
Yeah, the 4th is a Thursday.
So I wanna know how you wanna work the gates.
I told my wife it was something else. We got a problem here.
Sounds like a family calendar issue.
Terry,
is.
Terry, can you write up what you just said about the dogs?
Okay,
Because
well,
I
I'm
didn't
toasting.
hear it.
Yeah.
You'll write it up and send
Wow.
it to me?
What was the question?
4th of July falls on a Thursday. How do y'all want me to work the gates? Y'all want me to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or Thursday, take off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
It's a holiday
I think
weekend, it's gonna
it
be
sounds like
busy
a
all
pretty good
week.
weekend, then you got Thursday, Friday.
All 4 days.
I've worked for 4 days. then.
4 days.
Sure. Are you getting any volunteers?
No.
You're getting
No.
none?
No.
No volunteers? Yes, okay.
Jeez, okay,
All right, Terry's.
I wanna go ahead and do the membership.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, Columbia County side, we got 661, on the Swanee side, we got 244, for a total of 905.
Did you say 244?
Yeah, Swanee side, 661 on this side, for a total of 905. And, we'll go to the, and there.
Well, I'll go ahead and let you, I'm gonna go ahead and just move that up on the trepo election review procedure. You have an application
Yeah,
form?
I passed out everybody application for the election. If anyone wants to run, we gotta post it on the website too. If not, it will be within the next day or two. Just for y'all to look over and see.
So that's gonna be the procedure that.
We go,
Okay. And when will that be posted up on the?
we'll post it today, it'll be no later tomorrow, the next day.
Yeah.
Will you be able to follow up and ensure that?
Yeah, I
goes?
will.
Okay.
And that's really all I have.
Okay, any questions of the president? All right, we'll move on to park manager's report. Bill?
A lot of it we've already gone over, had to deal with the dogs. We cleaned up the parks and removed, a lot of branches and stuff in 3 parks. Boats are still coming up in the swimming areas. They're both members and non-members. The men's toilet was repaired at Hoder, replaced the grill at Midpoint, cleaned and oiled all park locks, so they should be all working just fine. Both, so all the parks are open now. And the dogs that were across the street were taken care of with Builder's help. And then I also filled out an affidavit, and that was taken care of, so that the 2 dogs that keep coming to the parks over there have been taken care of. Let's see, members continue to bring dogs into the park and then become argumentative when they are advised to remove them. We are receiving calls from members about dogs being in the park. One member advised me that he would be at this meeting tonight to discuss me telling him that his dog was not allowed to go to the park. Okay, members have come to me about pot being smoking in the park on a regular basis. So I don't have a problem with what people do at home, but they can't do it around people's kids. It's not right, it's not fair, and so, okay, all the toilets will be up and running tomorrow, Thursday. And they'll be put back in from Bonnie's. Lock on the women's bathroom. We had to try to get it repaired. They've been out here twice. Now they ordered the parts for Thursday. That lock will be repaired. All parts have been reopened, like I said, and I'd like the board to start thinking about discussion with fence painting, replacement, and repair. We've got a lot of fence issues. They need to be cleaned up so that the parks look nice. They're all rotting down and falling down. So, that's something that I'd like to see the board take a look at and see if we can.
Have you got an inventory of the park itself and what needs to be done?
For what?
You said the fences, you have each park?
Yeah, I can, they're all just, most of them are just rotten. Like the one at Program, falling over.
Okay.
And the same thing with the one over there at Program Park on the other side. Camping park needs 2 new fences now. One in particular because people have bought the property right there at Camping Park. A little piece of chunk of land. So we need to fence off our property from those folks, not, and
You talk about the one to the upstream
yeah,
of the park?
no, downstream. It goes at an angle behind the guy's trailer that sits.
Oh, in Camping Park.
Camping Park.
I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah, that needs to be taken care of. There's holes already in there, and it just never got finished, apparently. So I'd like to.
Why don't you and I just get together on that? if we
Okay.
can?
Yeah, I'd like to see the parks get painted up if they need it.
That's right. Any way we can get Tommy Matthews involved, that's really good.
Me and Tommy already got it. We already got a destination.
So he went from sign man to fence man?
Yeah.
The electrician.
To electrician.
Okay, Bill, do you have,
That's it.
anything else? Okay. Thank you, Bill. Any questions of Bill? All right. There it is. Okay, we'll move on then to, maintenance. I don't know that we have any maintenance. We've been underwater, haven't we, other than a few things you might have, Tom?
Let me bring up one thing about the electrical. You suggested to me that we need to do a few things beforehand. But, financially, how do we do that? Am I gotta go out and get 3 bids for an electrician to come and take care of the electrical? Because that's gonna be a tough thing to nut and crack.
Yeah, do you have a estimate of what you think the cost is?
No.
You used to do that all the time. didn't he?
Yeah, but John is like what I said.
Okay.
I met a guy today that's a member, he can pull the permit.
What is the scope of the work? Is it one project or multiple projects?
2 projects.
Okay.
One is to run out to another 20 amp circuit out that way, to the top in the maintenance room circuit.
Right.
And there are plenty of spots in it. And while they're doing that, to run electric out to this, and we've already talked about it at the last meeting, out
Right.
that little building. Weatherhead over at Grand Park. That needs to be completed. Now, the water's still up at Grand Park, but we've got to take care of it.
So do you have any, we can get by with two bidders on it. Just 2 folks, if you just want to talk over the general part of the contract.
We'll try to find some electricians. They're all
I got somebody
really
licensed.
busy.
We've got one too.
I got a license. Got it. It's close by here. You can look at it.
And as long as we can get several bids.
Let's just get
Next
2.
one.
I think that's all we'll need.
Probably next year.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
do you want to go ahead and do what we've done in the past, so we don't have to wait another month to get it rolling, where they can give us an estimate of the maximum amount? And the board may be willing to move that you get up to authorized up to that amount of money.
That seems reasonable, but he has no idea what we're looking at. Do you, threshold?
I need to walk it with Bill.
Right.
I don't even know what.
I know that you've got a major issue over here because you've got a 12 service running. 20 amps is probably 5 when it gets there, maybe a small one, but major draw.
Run to it.
You're talking about running 2 services over there, aren't you? Aren't y'all?
That's what I'm thinking.
What we're trying to do, I'll get with Bill, and we can discuss it, and we'll try to get, scope of work,
All right.
and we'll try to get some bids, and then I'll bring it to you.
I got one bid for you, so I'll get a gentleman to do it. He lives right
How
here.
did he bid it, didn't know what it was.
Because I told him so.
And he does go with.
And
He'll just come over here and
He's
quote it.
messing with me.
He'll come over and quote it. I don't know what it is.
I met a new member, and they just moved in,
Yeah.
he's a retired electrician.
Okay.
He also is going, he said he knows that.
Okay.
Does he have an
So
active license?
when you want to start on
Yeah, he
that?
works for a part-time.
Tomorrow, next day?
There, but he's
Well,
out.
I'm waiting on Bill to get some time.
Okay. I've got the information to reach out to him, Tommy, okay?
We probably need to look at the budget too,
Yeah,
since it got slashed.
sure. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. You need anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. We'll move on to communication. Of course, Vonda's out and Charlie's out. Terry, you doing anything on communication for Vonda?
She usually does the membership, and I already did that.
You did it? All right, so we'll move on to the new business park reviews, park rules. Vonda was gonna make that presentation tonight. She's out, so we will postpone that to the next meeting in July. And we've taken care of, old business. So what we'll do now is move on to property owners. Are there any comments from property owners? Yes, sir.
Okay, I was the one that Bill was speaking of that got argumentative last night.
What is your name, sir?
Ray Gerner.
Hey, Ray.
I kayak for over 20 years. I kayak every Monday night, have been, and y'all have told me as long as my dog's on a leash, I can launch with my dog at Hodar Park. I've been doing it for 20 years. He comes up, does not identify himself. He's standing off under a tree in a shadow telling me, you can't have a dog in the park. I've told you you can't have a dog in the park. And I said, excuse me? And then I saw who it was, and I said, are you the park manager guy? And he says, yes. And I said, well, we've been through this at board meetings. I was told, as long as my dog's on a leash, I am allowed to launch at Hodar Park. And he's telling me, no dogs are allowed in the park unless it's a service dog, and I know that's not a service dog. And how does he know? Because I've had 3 board members tell me, oh, just lie to him and tell him it's a service dog, but they told him in front of him. So, well, I went out, I did not leave with my dog, I left on the water like I do every Monday night. I spent my day today talking to my Disabled American Veterans representative I've talked to a lawyer from Disabilities, Americans with Disabilities, who the DAV sent me, and he set me up with another phone call to a place called Paws for Patriots, who certify service dogs for veterans. I now have to take my dog to Jacksonville for training to get him that certification, but they agreed to do a fast-paced certification on it because I refused to go online and buy one of those fake ones. I trained service dogs for
Appreciate that.
I trained service dogs for a while, and I'm very passionate about service dogs. I know what they do. And my dog is not a certified service dog, but he does alert me with blood pressure issues. He alerts me with sugar issues. He comes up and licks my leg and makes me sit down. And I told the guy at Paws for Patriots that, and he says, come to Jacksonville, we'll do a little bit of training, and we will certify your dog. But have you not told me in the past, as long as my dog is on a leash, I can launch at Hodar Park?
I probably did before we had all these issues, yes, I probably did.
Well, I'm only here half the year.
So Ray, how long will it be before they will certify you on that?
Well, I'm going Friday for my first meeting with them.
Can you reach back out to me and let me know how that's going?
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like you got a very good dog. You can get that done, that's great.
And, you know, like I said, I used to do so much for these parks. I used to park at Hodar Park twice a week, and I would walk every single park, picking up all the trash, the dirty diapers, the cigarette butts, in every park, and the entire road between every park I would pick up.
I know you did.
And I put all the butt cans in the parks, and now I don't even go to the parks anymore because I get harassed. Even if I'm not with my dog, I don't feel welcome anymore. I don't feel well, and last night was just, it was Hartwick, for one thing. He didn't identify himself. He just walks up, he's standing in the shadows telling me I can't have a dog. I don't know who the heck he is. I don't see very well. I do now. I don't see very well, sir. You were 25 feet away from me.
So Ray, let me just work with you on that, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Didn't the code enforcement just say there is no legal registration for a service dog?
Yeah.
Did he not
Unless
just
it's
say
blind.
that?
Yeah,
Pardon me?
unless it's for a blind.
Federal.
Right.
Right.
So actually, you wouldn't have to try to register your dog because it really isn't worth the paper it's written on, just like the stuff that you get off the internet. There is no certification in the state of Florida for a service dog.
There is. Paws for Patriot is one of the 6
Yes,
legit.
Yeah, he would have the certification, I think is what he said.
Okay, so that's to the.
There's not on a registry, but it is an official certification.
Okay, so
Paws,
that's to veterans, right?
like, Paws for
Okay, that's a
Patriots
whole
is one of,
different story
like, a lot of the airlines no longer accept the internet ones. It has to be, there's 6 legitimate ones that they accept on airlines now.
Right.
And Paws for Patriots is one of them.
I'll work with you on that. Ray,
Thank you.
okay?
Might
Anybody
speak a
else?
little bit?
Yes, sir.
Because Greg, we appreciate everything you've done and so forth. But what has come up was, it's not you and it's not your dog. It's every other person that comes in here and says, well, Ray can bring his dog, why can't I bring mine? And their dogs are not taken care of like yours. But we have such a population nowadays that it makes it really difficult. Because I really hope they get you your stamp and everything, and we're all good to go, because we don't want to be confrontational, or we don't want to be mean to anyone, but we also have a responsibility that we have insurance. If somebody's dog bites somebody, we can lose our insurance. If, you know, all this other stuff that's going on with people that do not take care of the dogs, that's why the rules are in there, just like speeding on the highway.
Well, when I go
appreciate
kayaking,
you.
I leave my dog in the car running until everything is at the river, and he's the last. I come up and get him and bring him down, and I tether him just like he was tethered to my kayak last night. Don't shake your head. He was tethered to my kayak.
Why were you walking over by the fence then with them?
Okay. Stop. But just let him talk.
Was he on a leash?
Yes.
Yeah, but he was taking
Okay.
a crap in the park.
No, he was not.
What do you have in your hand?
I had a leash.
Okay.
And there's a doggy bag attached to the leash. That's what was in my hand. But I have been told by this board, and I've even been on a committee for this board about the dog, and we agreed that my dog, or dogs going kayaking, as long as they're on a leash, to go to and from the kayak. We've agreed on that. I was told that.
Things are getting a little worse, and I'm gonna communicate with you, okay, Ray?
Okay.
We'll stop this, John. Yes, yes,
So there's actually 11 people that the attorney that represents me represents.
yes.
That was on all the record requests. Mediation is only allowed one person. So when you say that I'm the only one suing, that's not correct. There's also over 118 people that have signed petitions to remove this board. So it's not just me that's disgruntled. You guys keep pointing it out like I'm the only one in this whole association that's mad about what's going on. It's definitely not the case.
Okay. Anything else? Yes, John?
Conveniently, does anybody know what that is?
I do, I have one.
It looks
Me
like
too,
a
tax and regulation.
pickup matter
Yes.
stuff.
Mine is tax
And
tax
any
and tax.
time that somebody's got one, you can bet they use them.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Maybe Mr.
There
Hood
are-
would like to have one,
Really
so
off
no one
topic.
was.
It's not about
Okay.
dogs, it's not about parks, it's not about leashes. It's about the A-frame, which I feel fortunate to have been a member of this board when we approved the renovation and moving of that building. I now, among other members of our community, would like to be able to use that building for something other than storage. A couple of mornings a week, there's a garden club that would like to use it, there's a couple of other groups that would like to use it. So I would like for next month's board meeting to have how we as members can use, access, and reserve the A-frame for whether it's our meetings, my yoga classes, baby shower, Bible study group, but because it was specifically moved to both have that building available historically, ultimately and eventually for museum pieces, I would just like, as a member, to be able to know that I can use that building a couple of days a week, and how do I go about doing that?
Okay. We can actually begin to start discussing that. That was part of the plan of this being renovated. Of course, this got cut in the budget last year. They've been building, some folks have been working on some additional storage in this other building, and we're securing that. We don't have any mechanical air conditioning
For classes,
or way to
to make
control the
money?
humidity there, so that's an issue right now. That building has a lot of storage in it, things that we may not want to put somewhere else, so we kind of got a little, the intent is for these buildings to be able to be utilized. Actually, this is the building that we really wanted to be able to be utilized. That building more for a museum and a staging area, but it doesn't mean that's the way it is. It can be changed. July's next month. There's not going to be a lot of folks around in July, and August is the end of the summer. I know you're trying to do something fairly quick, but I'd really rather put it off for a couple of months till we can actually get a group. We can start discussing where we can go. We can take ideas and suggestions, but it's going to be hard to have something ready for next month on a direction we're going to go.
Okay, I did speak with Vonda about it.
Yes.
And she did tell me there was some concern about items that needed to be in climate controlled environment, but there are many things that didn't have to stay there. That building was originally intended as storage.
That's what that building is intended for. It really
Right.
needs to have some form of mechanical conditioned air.
But what I want to finish with is to say that as my group anyway, and I'm sure the other groups as well, I don't need the whole space. You know, there's room in the office, there's room against the walls, whatever, as opposed to just, like when I look at the windows, it's like things just get shoved in there. Nothing's really organized enough so that there's a central space that could be used by members in small groups. That's all I'm looking for, is a way to do that.
We'll get that committee together. I think Vonda and Bill and I worked on that, so we'll get that group together. We won't have it by next month, though. There's no way we can physically handle the materials there right now. We've got a little bit of an issue. We really need to get our storage area controlled. And it never was. It had open windows before, if you remember.
Right, I
So,
remember.
and that was built probably back in the early 70s.
even more recently. But I'm just wanting to be able, because the presentation and why I as a board member voted for all of the money that we as members spent on the building was that it would be great for board meetings. That didn't really work out because of the size, lighting, etc. It would be good for members to use for small gatherings. So my vote went because in the future,
And I think it was a
Members
good, I think it was a
have
good
access.
vote, and we are gonna move in that direction. Had we not had the budget, cut last year, we would have had all that, that would have,
right, I get that.
so, and we will have a budget coming up for the coming year, to take a look at some opportunities. Okay, thanks, Laura. And yes, ma'am. You have a question? Oh, you're reiterating what she said, okay. Are there any more questions? Yes, sir.
Okay, not about dogs, the gate over here at Hodar.
Yes,
I bungee it open when I get my kayaks in.
yes.
I've been scolded for it in the past.
You just shouldn't do that, but go ahead.
Well,
I understand.
I've been told it's no problem as long as I'm closing it right after. But as soon as I was told that, the next week when I went kayaking, there's this 2x4 that sticks out 1.5 feet from the post. Well, my kayak's very wide and I have extreme mobility issues. It's really hard, and I would like to know why that board is there. What's the purpose of it?
I hadn't seen a board.
Yeah, it's a 2x4 that sticks out from the 6x6 that keeps the gate from opening all the way.
It's because the gate opens too far without that 2x4 and it locks up the closure.
Oh, the hydraulic closure.
There's a post there, it's
Do
not true.
what?
Move that post a couple inches.
So, you say.
Or cut the board a little bit. That's fine, but it's just too big.
Okay, I'll take a look at it, all right?
It's still gonna lock up the closure. The closure's gotta be 90 degrees with that.
I'll take a look at that. Yes, sir.
But
So-
you're not allowed people to get in
Yes,
there.
you got a question here? Yes.
So I'm allowed to reserve the clubhouse and like hold classes and stuff?
Not commercially,
Reason
no.
why the other closure.
Couldn't be a commercial enterprise, but yes, members can, I believe members have been reserving clubhouse.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Did we ever get an estimate of what it was gonna take to really, do what we need to do to this building, including air conditioning? I mean, in August, I'm not coming to the meeting.
We had a budget for that, last year's budget, to do it
How
all.
much was it?
Don't remember, we pulled the numbers back.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to the money from last year's budget?
We had a lot of numbers, but, so we'll have to revisit that this year. Okay, does anyone else have a question? All right, we will, motion to adjourn? Adjourn. So moved. Motion and second. All in favor? Aye.
Gosh. Phew. Sure enough, it's hot.
Yeah, it's hotter than that.